What's going on? Happy Thursday night to you guys. We are going live to talk about all things real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando. I'm here with my guest host, KP Squared,
Hey.
Kristen Pavlik. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah,
I love that you just said KP Squared. I was hoping that would stick.
It's totally stuck. Before we get too far into, last time we had weird stream issues. And so again, we've only got 3 people over here. So that usually means that we're not having a good time over on YouTube. And this is something that Chase Farmer is going to have to help us figure out here in a very short period of time. Let's see, before we go too live, but make sure you guys start letting us know down below as you're watching here. Where are you guys watching from? For one, we got Annette watching from Denmark. I saw you sneak in here before, a couple of minutes before we went live. So thanks so much for watching from Denmark. Wiggy's checking in from Kentucky. Good to see you. We got Brenda checking in from St. Charles. Dawn checking in from Rhode Island. Visual CQ. What's going on from NYC? Is it soggy NYC? Guess what? I just booked my New York Marathon hotel and flight today.
Gosh. When
this
is that,
coming
November?
up November 3rd. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. No, I'm totally not. I'm like, I was way ready last year. I got 90 days to get ready. Oh, goodness gracious.
Kind of a big deal, Ken.
It is, you know, it is. It's so crazy. All right, finally, people are checking in. All of a sudden, a big dump came through. We got to figure out why there's a lag when we start off here. I do not understand. But Kim's checking in from Claremont. Long time so busy with your son's wedding plans. That's exciting. Congratulations. Let us know. Are they here? Are they elsewhere? Chris is checking in from Miami. Good to see you. We've got other people from Claremont. Make sure you keep dropping. Let us know where you're watching from. We're going to talk a lot about real estate. We've got a lot of data to go through here. We've got some employment information, which actually should surprise us. School starts next week, which is crazy. I feel like the summer just went like insane.
And there's an invasion coming to Orlando soon.
There is an invasion we're going to talk about later on, and it's not the Beatles. It's something else. It's completely different. Florida man checking in from Horizon West, and Pickles, we're checking out the hills of Mineola. Let me know, Pickles. I've got this haircut guy, my favorite guy, John. He just opened up a new place in Celebration, and he was like, where's the next place that I should open up a barbershop? And I was like, ugh, because he wants it to be, he's got one in Windermere and one in Celebration. And if you think about the demographic of like up and coming, not overbuilt, family friendly, Claremont and Mineola kind of feel like a good little triangle for him.
Actually, I was going to say Mineola is great
for him. Yeah, absolutely. Wiggy says we've already been checking out schools week mode. Yeah, this is teachers hired. Yeah, we did our meet the teacher today with all 3 kids, all 3 schools
on the same day.
On the same day, we were like morning. I did some appointments, and then I ran over. Had to do middle school, high school, and then ran here.
One in every level.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the school, you could tell the teachers are already tired. So I definitely get that. What's going on? We got other people checking in because they know each other. Let's see. Miami Coffee says there's a delay between YouTube and X. Yeah, we'll figure this out. I'm going to do a little tester before we go live next time. But let's talk about the first story tonight, Kristen. Oh, by the way, and let us know in the comments if you guys have questions about food or theme parks or real estate. We are here to help any way that we can. And interacting with each other is always fun.
The questions are the best part. So please.
They definitely are.
Ask us questions.
They are my favorite part. All right. So number one thing we're talking about tonight, Florida wages continue to grow despite national decrease. Now, Kristen, people always say Florida has the worst pay in all of the country, which we're not
technically not the worst.
Technically not the worst.
40 out of 50 is not terrible.
No, exactly. 40 out of 50 is where we rank currently. This is a article by the Orlando Business Journal, and there's they brought in some reports from the ADP, and they basically say that the median annual salary in Florida rose 4.8% compared to the same time last year. We love it. Raises are better than decreases.
No, definitely. And I was actually surprised to see this because it is nationally trending downwards a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is. So average or median annual salary in Florida is now $52,000 a year. And for Florida, like you mentioned, Kristen, ranked number 40 out of 50 in median pay last year, with Massachusetts at the highest.
Climbing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Slow but steady.
Well, one of the things we always hear is that, Florida's has low income compared to other places in the country, for sure. We've got lower taxes. We got a lot of other lower things. We also have hospitality jobs, tourism jobs, things like that, which we can get into next, that kind of bring down that average as well.
True. Yeah. A lot of with seasonal jobs, things like that kind of alter that a lot. But let's talk about what can we afford with that salary? Yeah,
for sure. So I think, I look at, the average person is either, in Florida, Orlando anyways, they typically have either a spouse that they're living with or a partner one way or another, or maybe they've got a roommate. And so if we took $52,000 a year, this is an interesting kind of study. You and I were chatting about this before. Is Orlando affordable for most people? So you got $52,000 a year.
So if we have two people,
If you got two people, that's 110
Mhm.
or 104.
and then so are we doing can they afford rent versus can they afford a mortgage today?
Yeah, for sure. So if you talk to like all the real estate gurus out there, or let's even like a Dave Ramsey, who some people love, some people hate, he says 30% of your gross is going to go towards housing, your principal, interest, taxes and insurance, or rent.
Okay,
right.
perfect.
So if you're making $104,000 combined household income times 0.3, that's $31,200 a year. Divide that out by 12. That's $2,600 a month. Okay,
$2,600 a month on housing alone. So
housing alone.
What's the average rent price?
Right. So let's go over to that. So the average rent price in Orlando, they say is $1,500. I don't believe this actually.
That seems low.
That seems really low. And so if you look here, they say the average studio is $1,387. The average one bedroom is $1,560.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which I know a lot of like friends and family that live in one bedrooms, and they're about $1,600. So that probably is about right.
And there are some that I know that are in one studios that are $2,000 a month.
That's
so
exactly right. It's
it
varies. The average two bedroom in Orlando right now is $1,916 a month. That actually feels about right. And three bedrooms, $2,200. I know in Horizon West, there's new buildings going in. Those are like $2,700 a month.
So 22 to 25, probably somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. So the average dual income person in Orlando can afford the average apartment, which
three-bedroom apartment. Yeah.
Three-bedroom apartment.
That's good.
So it's good. I mean, would we love them to be all homeowners? It's selfishly, yes. But it's about 35% of Orlando rents, which is about national. Like national average is about 30 to 40%. So Orlando falls right in the middle.
We don't want to be average. We want to be above average.
That's right.
We'll start here.
So we want those incomes to continue to climb. So let's talk about if they wanted to buy though. So you go into the data from the past month, and this is just single family properties here in Orlando, which is so crazy to me that this number is not really dropping like a rock, like many people think.
Staying steady.
Yeah. So the average median price for a single family home in Orlando is $450,000.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah. I mean, when I moved here 8 years ago, it was $280,000.
I don't want to tell you what I bought my house for.
Tell me. You can tell me.
$260,000.
Yeah.
Soto.
You people. You people. So let's pop over and let's take those exact numbers. So the median home price is $450,000 according to our data. This is single family properties. And if you were to put down, I'm going to get rid of us, even though we're such a, we look so good on the camera, but no, they don't want to see us. They want to see the calculator. So if you put down 20% and you had the average interest rate, which is right now about mid sixes on a 30-year loan, home insurance
high enough.
Yeah, 1,000 is not high enough. Let's put that at 2,000.
Perfect.
Taxes also seem a little low. Like let's put 5,500.
Perfect.
HOA dues, whether you have one or you don't. Right, downtown Orlando doesn't have them.
Right.
Other places plenty do. So let's just keep it at 600 and call it a day.
Okay.
And you've got the average payment at $2,981, meaning that the average Orlandonian can't afford the average home payment.
Yeah.
But what happens?
That's with 20% down too.
That's with 20% down.
That's difficult for a lot of people to do.
So one of the things that I thought was interesting is like, what do we need to do in order, like interest rate wise, to get to where the average Floridian or average Orlandonian can afford the average home? And so if we go at 6%, that drops it to 2,800.
Bring it down.
5.5 is 27. So 5.25. There you go.
Okay. So we just need interest rates to get to the low fives. So who's in charge of this? Who do we write to?
Yeah. Uncle Jerome Powell. Make sure you write to him
Perfect.
at Uncle Jerome at USTreasury.gov.
Perfect.
So here's the thing. So interest rates have come down over the past week. We saw them drop, which was interesting. They were pushing 7, then they dropped to like the mid to low 6s.
Oh, I mean, it was all over the news. But the other thing about that is when the interest rate drops, you know what else happens is new construction is then able to do even better interest rate buy downs.
That's right. And so this is an interesting one. You've got a lot of builders out there that are offering really low rates. If we've negotiated crazy low rates where you can get into the 5s, and that's where we're seeing people win right now.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
All day long.
Like the new construction world, or even if you talk to a seller and you say, hey, listen, we would love to do a deal with you and we're going to have to help buy down
or closing costs or something, but to help the buyer be able to afford the home. We're seeing a lot of that happen right now in our market, which is really cool to see. So even with the interest rates a little bit higher, it's not always just resale. That's the option.
That's right.
Yeah, or new construction. Resale is definitely an option.
Yeah, you got it. So Daniel has a great question in regards to this. Can you explain how mortgage rates decrease before the Fed actually cuts rates, which appears likely in September? Do mortgage rates adjust based on what the Fed is expected to do? You nailed it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. So they start pricing in based on, they say, hey, it's inevitable that the Fed is going to cut their rate. And so they start pricing that in ahead of time. And so we see that. And so we saw it drop. We saw it pop back a little bit. The market really rebounded today, which was great, thankfully, but we'll see what happens.
And to answer this question, I've sat in on so many mortgage lenders trying to explain how we get our interest rates, and it's magic, it's voodoo, it's made up. That's what I've come to the conclusion of for the most part.
So we've got other people asking over here. Oh, Marion says, I'm checking in from Sunbridge, St. Cloud. We love your podcast. Hey, wait a minute. You have a listing.
I just have a listing that went active in Sunbridge. Watch my Instagram. It's on there.
Yeah, I know. It's a cute little house. What's that one listed for?
We've got that one listed at, I think we're actually talking about a price reduction. So let me get that in writing before I quote.
Dawn says, I love the new setup. Thank you. It's got like a little bit of a different kind of vibe.
I was just saying that. I said, I love this setup.
Yeah. It's a little weird because I'm like looking over here, but we'll figure it out over here.
Where do we steer?
Wiggy says, have I seen increase in home insurance companies in Florida? Increase in home insurance companies. Yes. So there's not only new insurance companies coming, but there's also some forecasting drops, which we were talking about this as a team, that Florida, we were like ahead of the curve from 2020 to 2023 in regards to interest rates jumping up. Yeah. There's also other articles that are out there that I read this week, though, Kristen, were saying that insurance companies like Citizens were saying that they need to increase rates by 90% to catch up with the overall hurricane damage. No. But
I just got an insurance quote because, I'm buying a new home and the brand new home, 5-bedroom, our quote was $1,800 for the year.
Yeah. Well, it's new construction, right?
Yeah.
But they say that it needs to come up with 90% over, and they're capped every year. So this is going to be over probably the next decade.
Okay.
It's kind of wild. But back to Wiggy's comment is that we need more insurance companies here. And I think we need to do something with regulation. I'm so glad that we are capped on insurance. So that way we don't have to worry about it. There's some states like Texas, I think they had something like a 15% jump year over year. They don't have a cap. On taxes, a whole bunch of other stuff.
Wild.
It's kind of wild. Yeah.
That is wild.
Amani says, hey, Ken and Kristen, living here in Livonia, just got back here. Well, man, I hear it's actually right now is probably the best time of year to live in Michigan. So hope you're amazing, having a good time. Florida misses you. Danielle, did I get that right? It's a little farther away from me.
It looks like Danielle.
Family with very young kids looking to move to Horizon West. What are the recommended neighborhoods to look at? Budget is a max $1 million. Well,
you're solid.
Yeah, you're solid in terms of budget. We live in Horizon West, and you're about to live in Horizon West.
I'm about to live in Horizon West.
And so it's really for us I can't say like, hey, this family friendly or not, but I have a family and we love it. So
and I love it.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit of everything and everybody in between. So feel free to reach out if you have questions on how we can help narrow that down for you, because I just went through all 3 Horizon West schools. It was kind of insane.
You did go to all 3.
Yeah.
Speaking of schools, right?
Oh my gosh. So Kim says, hey, it's still crazy that in your hometown of Connecticut, we just sold our house about 2 weeks ago for $100,000 over asking.
Wild.
This is an interesting stat. So we said this in our team meeting this week, that the amount of homes still selling over asking in Orlando is like 30%.
Yeah.
So that's insane. Like, so most people would say like, oh, the market's completely stagnant or some places falling by.
Hyper specific, it feels like.
I've never seen it more hyper specific. Yeah. Like in 2021, you could just blanket and say everything's going up.
Right.
And then in 2019, 2020, it was like everything's flat in some areas. Some places are down, some places are up. It feels like that now.
It's literally like this specific neighborhood and this specific product over asking.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This specific neighborhood, this product might get some price reductions.
Might potentially get some reductions. You never know. Actually, we had a really good question with Florida man asking, how are the NAR rules for buyers affecting showings, if at all? We only know it's only been 24 hours since it's actually effectively been in place.
Brand new.
But here's the thing, like we took a bunch of new listings. We're working with new seller clients. And I think most of them realize that they still want to offer out commission to a buyer's agent. It just can't be on the MLS anymore. And so us as agents, we have to now call listing agents and say, hey, is your seller willing to offer a commission? Yes. Okay, great. Then we work out our commission and then we work out the offer. Now you're going to have some sellers that offer out nothing. And they say,
always had that.
We've always had that. That's true. I mean, so there's never been a set amount of commission that you had to offer or we had to charge. It was always negotiable. But what they're trying to do is make it as like blind as possible.
It's just much more work on real estate agents, but it's business as usual for everybody else, right? Because what is it? 90-something% of buyers are represented by real estate agents or something wild like that. And so if you're selling a home and you're not offering that compensation, buyers are not going to be incentivized to even look at your home because they don't want to have to pay their closing costs, their down payment, and their real estate agent.
That's right. And here, so Kristen, like to play devil's advocate, why don't you just skip working with a buyer's agent and just go to the listing agent?
Well, I mean, we just literally had a conversation about how specific neighborhoods can be and what products are out there. And I don't know a single buyer that I've ever worked with that didn't love working with us on our team because of area expertise, knowledge, negotiation skills. I mean, it's such a difficult process to go through. There's so many nuances, so many pitfalls. And I mean, it's like having a lawyer. Would you want to go to court without a lawyer? Would you want to represent yourself? I mean, it's getting to that point here.
It is. And I think, this is what I told a client of ours the other day is like, just because you're signing an agreement to work with me for the fee that we charge doesn't mean you owe it to me today. I get to now negotiate on your behalf, and every deal is a little bit different. Whereas before we were just looking at the MLS, great, that's what they're offering, that's what we did. Now it's a whole negotiation. But what I would tell you is that now the law is that as a listing agent, if I want to show you a buyer my own listings, I have to then get something signed before I can get you in the door, which is a whole crazy sort of thing.
That's the biggest change, really, is that now you do have to have an agreement with your real estate agent before you can even look at a property with them. And frankly, it's nice because buyers have a lot more transparency when it comes to what their agent is responsible for and what they're getting paid. Before it was, we knew, but they didn't.
Yeah. And that's like the crazy thing about, I don't want to belabor this too much, but like our team was always very specific on this. Like we knew what we offered. We sat down and did a buyer consult. We showed what we got, what we charged, but the other million realtors or maybe 20,000 realtors in Orlando, maybe they didn't do it differently. And so this kind of lawsuit forces that and have those rough conversations that some agents just weren't willing to have because they were like, well, I don't really know why I get paid what I get paid. And
they don't know their value.
They don't know their value. Yeah. And so it's an interesting thing, but you get what you pay for. Anyways, I digress.
Oh, you absolutely get what you pay for. We can talk about this for hours.
Oh, yeah. We've actually had to talk about this for hours and hours. So, so Andrea says, hey, I'm looking at the following neighborhoods and sorry. Which of the following neighborhoods have the highest demand? Ovation in Horizon West, Sunbridge, or Soto? Dang, I love that question.
That's such a good question. And I love all of those locations.
Yeah, all those locations are great. And we sell a ton of it. It's just like, so Soto, I would say you got some newer homes. We're going to talk about that in a minute, like the Milk District, Soto, those sort of areas. But most of it's older homes.
Yeah.
Homes. Old, like 20s, 30s, 40s, like kind of thing. And so it's just a different vibe. And so in terms of overall days on market, it has a pretty low day on market. Horizon West and Sunbridge are both brand new construction. And so you're able to get a little bit better of a deal. And
newer home.
Warranties.
We love it. So new plumbing. I'll tell you about, you want new plumbing.
You just had a little bit of an issue with some plumbing recently.
And I live in Soto, or I'm leaving Soto, but and I have a 100-year-old house, which is almost like quintessential for that area. It's like a little gray farmhouse, and my pipes decided they were done. They said 100 years too many. We're done. And that's fun. That's Soto. Yeah. But there's a lot of walkability there, a lot of mature oak trees and so it's just a totally different vibe, right?
Yeah, it's a very different vibe. But that doesn't mean it's really what's up to you. And so when you think about like what's best or which has the highest demand, I think there's actually a lot more homes selling just because it's such a much bigger area in Horizon West.
Yes.
And so you have 40,000 compared to Soto, which is not
there's more opportunity, I think, too.
Yeah, for sure. Area. Winston says, what's up from the Space Coast? Good to see you. We got to expand over the Space Coast. I feel like there's so many people checking in from Brevard recently.
We'll sell houses.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll learn it. We got to
get some good agents over there. That's for sure. Winston says, you have a cool platform and I can tell you found your passion. I sure have. Thank you. Let's see. Corey says, I've currently started working with Fallon on your team.
Yes. Love Fallon.
We were just like, literally before we turned on the camera, we were just like raving about her. She's crushing it. Lindsay's did a great job getting her house sold in over ask in 2 days. What's up, Lindsay? That's so cool. Let's see. Hey, Deb, got other people, old houses for the win and the headache.
I love it. You're so right. It's a love-hate relationship. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship, but I
can't
get out of it.
You see who said this, right?
Who said this? Oh, of course, John.
Yeah, John says, what's it? Oh, what's going on from Alabama? Sorry. Very cool. Let's keep rolling here. So we got a lot of changes. We talked about schools changing over the next week or starting over the next week, but there's actually been a lot of school zoning changes, which I think that are important for many people that are moving here, or maybe you live there and you've been getting sort of like, you're a little frustrated with how overwhelming some of these schools have become.
And these newer areas, right? And Lake Nona, and so it's definitely a lot of people moved here very quickly, and the schools weren't quite ready for that.
Yeah, that's it, right. We had a massive boom, and a lot of the schools weren't ready. And the cool thing is, I understand the frustration as a parent. I know there were some of our kids' schools that were overwhelmed, or buses that were late because the school bus system was taxed. And yet I feel like Orange County has responded in a really positive way with building schools years ahead of when they had planned.
So smart.
Which is good. But here's some kind of ideas if you are curious on, like, maybe you're moving to the area or you already live here and you may or may not have known that this is coming. So you've got, this is Orange County, and I'm going to drop these down in the description on the replay here so you guys can look back through these. But if you haven't been to this website, it's actually, I think, fascinating because I'm a nerd. But as a parent, you probably love this as well. But you've got interactive maps. So you've got this new school that the board approved in 2024.
The name of the school 130E2 for now, like they haven't
for now, yeah,
okay,
exactly. And then usually they let like locals vote on them, and sometimes it's cool. Sometimes
that's so fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Vote on that. Okay.
So you've got a new one that's going to be. This is going to impact Laureate Park and Eagle Creek. So this is over in Lake Nona. It's going to be a relief school that's coming in 2025
for elementary schools.
For elementary, yep. You've got Millennia Gardens. That's going to be an adjustment. This is actually opening up this one. This is going to be affecting Millennia Gardens, Palmetto, and Sadler. You've got rezoning over in Ocoee. This was in 2024, and then the rest of these are kind of like back in 2023. Atwater Bay, this is over in Horizon West. This is going to be impacting Hamlin Elementary, Panther Lake Elementary, Water Spring Elementary. And what's wild about this, Kristen, is I was looking at this map. Look at how, so for this tiny little bit right here, this is basically just Waterley. They're getting their own elementary.
Just what Waterley's huge.
Waterley's like 2,000 houses, and most of them are, you know, a lot of families and stuff like that.
So many families moved into that community.
So
this is great. There's gonna be golf carts all day long driving around in this
all
community.
Day long. Yeah, right. Whereas, and you look at these zones though, because like Panther Lake Elementary, it's like, wow, that's a huge zone, but there's really no homes back here.
Right.
And so there's a lot of land that's eventually getting built out. You've got Ovation coming in, obviously, as you know,
that's
coming back
that
this
whole
area.
middle space.
Yeah, so eventually they'll need something else there as well.
They've already got plans proposed for the schools in those areas too. We're not seeing them yet.
We're not seeing them yet. Yeah. And think about like this. This is wild. On this map, this orange or the red, yellow, purple, all used to get serviced by Summer Lake and Independence just like 5 minutes ago. So it's crazy to see. It's a really interesting interactive map. There's a couple of things I want to talk about though as well. A big one that's coming. This is actually finally got approved and opening up this year. The Lake Nona High School is finally getting a new, because you had like 32832, which is like Eagle Creek, Moss Park. There's a bunch of other ones like that.
It wasn't just Lake Nona that was going to that zone, to that school, right?
Yeah, and all of Lake Nona was going to that one school.
All of
Lake Nona was going to the one high school.
That's why the bus system was rough.
And the traffic, and just everybody would say, wow, just that it's a really overwhelmed school. So anyways, they're getting a new school opening up, the innovation area. So there's a lot of really cool ones. Osceola County has some big ones coming. Lake County is getting a bunch of them. So I thought that these would be interesting ones for you guys to know about and actually have the links and sort of curious what's coming, because as a parent and or just buying into an area, you want to know, like, that affects resale. It affects so much going on.
Absolutely. Well, it's just nice to know also that it's going to alleviate some of that traffic flow too. We love that. So even if you don't have kids, you're like,
well, yeah, no, that's actually an amazing point. So you think about all of 32832. If you look over on the map here, you had to, innovation. If you look over here, all of these people were coming all the way down Narcoossee to go to the high school. And now finally they're going to get to stay up and over. Yeah. I'm curious now what that's going to do to, I hadn't even thought about that.
So nice. Well, because it was back to back. I mean, you never do showings right when they're letting out of high school.
All the time I did. Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm stuck here. Calling my client. I'm going to be 45 minutes.
I'm stuck on 417. But that's an amazing point I hadn't thought about. So very, very cool.
See, that's why you bring me on.
I know. You got the good information. Brandon, thank you so much. My cousin checking in. I appreciate it for the super chat, buddy. Yeah. Let's see. Stacy says, hey, I'm moving from Palm Beach, not familiar with Orlando. What community as well as maybe
restaurants, spa, want a community?
Oh, want a community.
Yeah, as well.
I need to bring the screen closer. I'm like at the worst
size.
No,
I'm blind too. It's fine.
Even restaurant, spa, etc. You know, Orlando's huge, and Orlando has so much to offer. I love Dr. Phillips when you talk about restaurants and spas and like community. I think that's great. Downtown area. That's such a big, broad question.
We have to talk, Stacey. About what do you like? What are you into? What are your hobbies? And then we can get you narrowed down. Maybe do a lifestyle tour. So send us a DM. We'll talk.
Yeah, lifestyle tours are interesting. We were just talking about this with a hospital system locally that we're working with, and they were like, explain to me what a lifestyle tour actually is.
So we have two. Or I have two.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I do it differently than everybody else on the team, but we have two. One is a self-guided tour. So I kind of do like a layout of things that I think would be important. And all of this happens after I've had many, many conversations with my clients and learned about them. They have kids. Where would they go to school? What schools are they looking at? And so there's a self-guided tour with maps that I print out and highlighted areas that they're able to kind of just go on their own and take a look at their leisure. And then we have the guided tour where we'll go to neighborhoods, parks, local places like restaurants, kind of just drive around and maybe even do some showings just so you can get a feel for what the houses are like in the area.
Yep.
So we have two kind of, but really it's not a, hey, we're going to go buy a home today. It's, we're going to go see if this neighborhood is a good fit for you and your family. If it meets all the qualifications that you're looking for in a community. And
Stacey mentioned, speaking of the things she's looking for in community, she's looking for a guard gated golf community. Any recommendations? So you've got, there's tons. Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. You've got Isleworth. You've got Golden Oak. You've got Keens Point. You've got, there's literally 20 or 30 of them. Yeah. Again, depending on what side of town you're looking for, and then your budget, because there's some of these that are like older neighborhoods that are guard gated, newer neighborhoods that are guard gated. You're typically going to be, if it's guard gated, you're probably going to start in the pretty much $1 million plus.
Yeah. And your HOA fees are going to be nice.
Yeah. $2,500 at least.
Yeah. At least. But you're paying for that guard and they're nice. You get to know them too. They're always fun. Have you started learning the names of the
Yeah, I've got a lot of them. I need to start bringing them like Starbucks cards. Just let me through, please.
Yes, please. Stop holding me up.
I'm so tired. Lenix says, hey, Kristen, are you selling your home? Are you going to rent it out?
I am going to rent it out because like I said, I got it for a very cheap deal when the interest rates were in the 2s, which is wild and gosh, unprecedented times. And so we realized that we're financially sitting on a cash cow. We're wasting money by living in this house because what our mortgage is and what we could rent it out for are wonderfully different. And so we're very fortunate and lucky that we're going to be renting it out. If you're interested, let me know because we have not actually officially listed it for rent yet, but we will. It's a 3-bedroom. I feel like I'm stealing the show here. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath main house. And
I'll charge you later.
Perfect. Yeah. And then a mother-in-law suite in the back that we're going to rent out separately. That's a 2-1. So it's actually 2 spaces right in the heart of Soto, walking distance to Kelly's Ice Cream. So it's so sad. I'm going to start crying.
But you get to move to a new community.
But I get to leave. Yeah. So we get to move. That's cool. That's Soto right there. Walkable to Kelly's Ice Cream.
That's the only reason. Let's see. Matthew said, I saw there was another thing Matthew said before I jump into that because it was a good one. It was exciting. Hey, Matthew said, I'm moving back to Orlando next month. Congratulations. Born and raised here, but you've been in New York for 8 years, ready to come home and build a custom home or build the culture in the O.
New York, huh?
Matthew, what's bringing you back? I'm curious. Yeah. Because I love
New York City, from the city. Yeah. Tell us what that move is. Because we actually get a lot of people who move from New York City. So I'd love to know what that motivation is.
Yeah, for sure. Stacey said, how about Bella Collina? I've seen, places called Bella Collina. Yeah. So that's obviously like right out that side of Mineola, like Claremont. It's a little farther. Yeah. You're going to get a lot more house for your money. Also, the lots are huge.
And the water view lots are stunning. Yeah. I actually have a client who's selling one right now. And you can build custom. So you can get really whatever you want. Yep. There's certain builders you have to choose from though.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny says, any word on the Foxtail sponsorship? No, I gave up. I know I don't ever give up on anything, but I was like, you know what? Their coffee's good, but I drink mostly Starbucks. And so, I don't think Starbucks is going to sponsor me. I just, so I kind of gave up, unfortunately. Well, there's other locals that I'm going to start like going after a little bit harder that I just love. But we'll keep that for another show.
I'm a coffee snob.
So a question, Kim says, hey, this is actually a really good one, Kim. Thank you. So she says, hey, can we talk about the pros and cons of building a pool? Also, if anyone here has a pool, what's your favorite features? So I've got my idea. What about you?
Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with pools. I love them because they're so wonderful, especially if you have kids. If you're going to use them, it's wonderful. For an equity standpoint, you never get what you put into it. Right. So it really has to be something that you're using for yourself. It will increase the value of your home, but not for what you're paying for the pool. And my favorite features are always when they have like all the rocks and the waterfalls and it looks kind of like you're at Disney or like the Four Seasons. I love when it's more like a resort style pool. Those are my favorite.
And you'll pay a pretty penny.
Very high penny for those.
Yeah. So I actually talked this on our last live. And so if you look at the average pool cost in Orlando, I looked this up for the last show. It's just over $100,000 now, like just 110. Over? Yeah. And so if you look at, depending on the neighborhood, so if you go into like resort areas and you don't have a pool, you're going to get a lot less for your house. But if you're in like say the Horizon West area or even Oviedo and like the east side of Orlando, like the kind of the pockets where it's more suburban, you're probably going to get about 50% of your investment back in resale. Now, will your home sell faster? Will you enjoy it more?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like we live in Florida, so you're going to enjoy it. But it's just not the best ROI.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Please.
Screened or not screened?
I'm a not screened guy
Me too.
unless you back up to like a conservation, then you're going to want it.
Yeah, because the mosquitoes.
Because the mosquitoes, and all that good stuff. But for the most part, like I didn't realize a pool person explained this to me, like the UV rays that get blocked from you having that screen. So you're playing in your pool and it's like, it's just, you don't get the whole outside experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you like that kind of thing. But
well, I mean, if you're not a big fan of bugs, you got to have the screen. That's just unnecessary there.
Yeah.
But I think without the screen, it feels more resort style, and you do get the full sun effect. So actually, the pool stays a better temperature, I think, than with the screen because it can get pretty cold. It keeps it cooler.
Yeah, no, totally.
Which maybe some people want.
And then you need a heater in Florida, and like, what the heck am I doing? Matthew said he's moving from New York. He used to practice law in New York City. Now he's moving down. He's heading to the packing district, renting at the cannery.
Oh,
it's a very
cool area.
It is a really cool area. I mean, I've probably already checked out the new Southern Hall Farm. I'm saying it wrong. The new packing district food hall, but it's called something different. Southern something. Yeah. Anyways, it's really cool. We just did the tour there. I haven't eaten there yet though. I need to find out.
I love
good
food
spots.
halls. I think they're so genius. Downtown Orlando does a good job popping those in and out. I love it.
Gosh, we got a whole bunch of other good ones coming in here, so I'll make sure I hit it. So Gigi says Bella Collina is still really expensive. The only thing that was in my budget in the neighborhood was the golf villa, and man, the houses there are way too close together, and those cost around $1 million. Yeah, that's really in the villas though. So I mean, the other ones that are, if you're thinking estates and you're willing to spend $2 to $4 million, 2 to 6, you're getting 4 to 5 acres many times. And like, that's just, we don't see that a lot.
It's rare to be that close too. I mean, you could find acreage and be an hour out of, Orlando, but this is still what, like 35, 40 minutes. And it's great. I mean, the lots are fabulous. Yeah.
Robert mentioned he started building a pool in February and construction might be finished at the end of this month. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, we'll talk to us, Robert. Is this like just a regular rectangle on the ground or are you getting fancy? Because if you're getting fancy, then yes, of course, it's going to take longer.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, agreed. And it's like, I bet you if he started in February, that means he probably started permitting last September.
Took what, like 4 months?
It took a year to get it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Johnny says, hey, what's up with new home communities and not having shade trees? They just take forever to grow. You got to look like 20 years from now, they're going to be nice and shaded.
It's easier to level it so that they don't have to deal with the trees. I know it's sad. It's religious. My vegan heart is like sad about it, but they plant them in the median. They'll grow. It's fine. We'll just put fertilizer down.
For sure. That's why we love the conservation, like backing up to it, because it feels like you still have some trees, even though the one in front of our house is like 10 feet tall. It's a little ridiculous. Kim says we back to ponds, so we're gonna have to put in a screen for sure.
Backing up to a pond, yep, you're gonna want.
All right.
A screen.
Speaking of other things that need to be added to the area that I'm excited, especially if you're over in the Lake Nona area. So we got new elementary school coming, we got new high school coming, but we also have a new library coming. And like, what's the last time you heard about a new library opening? By the way,
the last time I heard about a library at all was when Winter Park did their library.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful,
and that's wildly beautiful. But so Lake Nona I have a feeling that it's gonna be cool because Lake Nona's cool and trendy, right? Hopefully this is like a really cool library. Regardless, getting a library, it's almost like you actually are a place. You know what we need when you're searching on the MLS or anywhere? Lake Nona needs to be just Lake Nona because it's Orlando.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But then you got College Park. You got so many other areas that are technically.
But it's got its own library. It's graduated. It's a place.
Horizon West eventually will get theirs. But like, there's so many other. That's why if you think about like, do I want to move to the suburbs or I want to live in downtown where you've got the library? But do you ever go to the downtown Orlando library?
I used to go all the time when I was in college.
Would you go right now?
No, I wouldn't go
Why
right
not?
now. Well, if I'm honest, there's like a lot of homeless people.
There's a lot of it doesn't feel 100%
safe. Yeah.
Something that needs to be done
in the middle of the daytime. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
I love that place. It's so beautiful. But this is like, if you look over Winter Park, this is the new library.
We're about to like geek out on the Winter Park library.
Look how insanely beautiful this is.
Stunning. This is how you get people into books. You do dramatic architecture.
And they actually have a bunch of, so it's dramatic architecture and they have a lot of like media center. They've got conference center there now. They have events there, which actually, oh my God, why haven't we done an event at the library there? It's beautiful.
We're doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not that expensive either.
We should do some content on the Winter Park Library. Why
we totally should. Have you heard about the new Disney resort that's coming on?
So I've heard a little bit about this. This is going to be where that right next to Fort Wilderness, right? Where that old, what was it called?
You're stealing my thunder. The River Country.
Yeah.
So,
River Country.
So this is the new. So this is still rumored. Okay. So the reason why it's rumored is because that they're filing a bunch of they filed a bunch of things to move forward, some notice of commencement in this area. And if you don't know where River Country used to be, this is kind of where it's at. So you've got Fort Wilderness right here. Yeah, Fort Wilderness. You've got Bay Lake right here, and this little spot this down here. This is where River Country used to be. And if you didn't know, people were getting sick at River Country, and so Disney ended up shutting it down.
But
It is kind of gross.
Did you ever go?
No, I never got to go. It was torn down by the time I was really here.
Yeah, it was interesting.
If you've ever looked at, I took a boat tour around here. They did like a nighttime boat tour. These little cabins right here are gorgeous.
Isn't that Disney Vacation Club or is that?
I mean, it's right here at the Four Wilderness, but it's like
I love Fort Wilderness. Yeah. It's such a vibe. But yeah, they all have the views of Bay Lake. So I mean, it is really stunning. I think they've not been utilizing this area of Disney enough, and now I feel like they're starting to.
Yeah, well,
really cool.
They almost have to. They're kind of running out of land if you want to be connected. Which, yeah, these okay. You have to go do this. You and John go watch the fireworks on the boat. It's not that expensive.
Stop it.
And these little things are A-frame little houses
little
or villas.
Cabins.
They're insane. But this new one, the Reflections, this actually started pre-COVID, and they were going to be building this here. And it appears as though that they stopped for COVID was happening. Things were slowing down.
Yeah.
And so now you look at what's coming. And so this is what the old renderings used to be. And they called it Reflections Lakeside Disney Lodge Construction. So it kind of had that lodgy vibe, but a little bit elevated. Almost feels like
I'm a
YouTube.
Fan. I'm a big lodge fan.
Oh God,
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because we're in Florida and we don't get to do that very often.
Right, yeah, like Grand California and yeah, the whole vibe to me is great. But what you're going to see. So D23 is coming up this weekend.
I know. I've got a lot of friends going to it. I'm jealous. I've got FOMO.
Yeah, but I hope they actually announce something, literally anything,
instead of just being like a cosplay.
yeah exactly. Or even just like, you know, the whole blue sky thing. They're like, one day we might do this, and I'm like, you understand Universal has been eating your lunch for the past couple of years.
Universal brings it. They say what they're gonna do and then they do it. I love Universal.
Yeah,
I'm just a big fan.
HHN starts in
how many days?
Like 22 days.
We're going
3 weeks.
We're going as it's like a
crazy
bunch
as a
of
team.
They're going together.
Wild.
I'm so excited. You've looked at all the houses, right? You've like actually.
Yeah.
Which one are you the most stoked for? I know you're a big fan of the original houses, right?
Yeah.
Me too.
Let's actually look this up here.
Okay, this is my favorite thing to talk about.
What about you? What are your favorites so far?
So I'm always a fan of like the creative stuff. Like I never really like the licensed stuff. I feel like they get limited. They're like boxed in because they have to do certain amount of things, the likeness. So I wanted to be excited about A Quiet Place. I'm hopeful that it's gonna be good, but I'm a big fan of like the originals. Like I want to see
monsters. Universal monsters. Yeah. So Eternal Bloodlines, that's going to be probably one of my favorites, but it's all female, all fearless, all female. This is going to be wild.
All female.
Yeah. Slaughter Cinema, also probably going to be one that I think is a lot of fun. Monstrous of Latin America, which kind of like that. Remember, was it 2 years ago they had like the Chupacabra? There you go. Thank you.
They did.
The museum.
That's going to be
Deadly Exhibits.
I have a feeling that that's going to be fun because it's going to be like a museum. So it's going to be exhibits and they're going to come to life and get you.
I'm stoked. Major Sweets Candy Factory.
What do you think that is that from? Because wasn't there a Scare Zone before that had Major Sweets
there was,
in it?
That's right.
Is that him now? Is that the little boo on his hat? Is that like a reference to our little guy?
There he is.
Yes.
That's so awesome. Yes. I never saw that.
You never saw that?
You're like catching all the cool little things that I never saw.
That's with Halloween Horror Nights.
And then what else?
I promised he'd take me with him.
I did. Yeah, I did. So we got Premium Scare Night, which is on August 30th. I wonder if there's any tickets left. Yeah, this is kind of, it seems steep. $350 per night. This is on the 29th, actually. I'm sorry.
But it's going to be shorter, right? It's
shorter lines. Okay. They're going to it's going to be limited entry into the whole park anyway. So
you get a souvenir lanyard.
Ooh. I mean, if you're into lanyards.
Yeah.
Also the Scare Zones have all been announced. So yeah, it's going to be very, very cool. I think it's one of the best events in Orlando. Like
they just getting better and better.
Yeah, they do really good job.
They really raise the bar every time. There hasn't been a year that I've been like disappointed, right? There's always something really cool.
Yep. All right. So let's go over here. Let's see.
What are we talking about next?
There's a bunch of people that we missed out on. So I want to make sure we go back over here. Here we go. RJ says, what are some resort places to permanently look like like the Grove Resort? So the Grove Resort's actually an interesting one because it's a condo-tel product. So you've got, you actually can only live there a maximum of 6 months out of the year. And then you have to like move out and then you can move back in. It's an Orange County code kind of thing. But
Embassy Suites is like that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Like where they want to have it to where they can rent it out a certain amount of time. Yeah.
All of those.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. I think that there's plenty of people that want to live in resort world year round, and there's actually I think most of the neighborhoods that they're building around here. Waterley's a good example where it's like they've got 3 massive amenities, and they stop
like 5 minutes from Disney.
Yeah, exactly. But if you never want to have to go pay, like other than your mortgage and your homeowners association and all the other kind of things. This guy, I gotta block him. Sorry. Let's see, put him because he keeps dropping his house. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, buddy. Let's see what other ones we were missing here. So Wiggy says, yes, they're DVC cabins. So I got to get into DVC. Actually, Susanna on our team is like a huge DVC fan. I got to dig in. Yeah. Okay. I got to ask a little bit deeper because I know, what's the other one? That's the other Disney one. That's the newer one. It's RR. I can see it as I'm going by. It's a DVC hotel, but you can stay there. The Riviera. Oh. You're allowed to stay there though. Like they set a certain amount of things aside. And so like, can I go with these cabins if I'm not a DVC person?
If there's extras, I believe sometimes they'll open them up to general admission, but I think there never really are extras on the newer stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That makes sense.
Let's ask Susanna. We'll ask her.
We should get her on.
Yeah, you should have DVC, Ken. Why don't you have that? You have everything else Disney.
I don't know. I just to me, I don't know. Like, you live right behind it. Yeah. David said he's done a photo shoots of the Winter Park Library. It's so nice inside out. Yeah, they did a great job. One of the things like with a lot of the newer buildings is they don't have like the charm that place does. Like it's inside and out. They just did such an amazing idea.
Beautiful.
Yeah, build out there. Let's see.
I love there's so many people being interactive. It's my favorite.
Me
tell us
well.
More things.
Let's tell us over here. So he said, whoever mentioned Bella Collina, I just want to say that I live there.
Oh, we're out. We're here. We're back. Feel like I live in Italy when I go to the club. Oh, the clubhouse in Bella Collina. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think they spent $1 billion on the total build out of the whole neighborhood or when it's done. Let's see. Bella Collina. So you guys know what we're talking about.
If Bella Collina was 10 minutes closer to downtown.
Yeah.
It'd be wild.
Agreed. Look at this. This is like, it does feel like a whole other. Look at this. These wedding. Wow. Whoever did this.
Yeah, it is just stunning. I've been here so many times. I always forget that I'm in Bella Collina when I come here because it does feel like you're in a totally new place.
It does. And it's really high up. If you look at the elevation change at Bella Collina compared to a lot of the other places, you feel like you're in another country. Yeah. This one's a good example of that.
The landscaping alone. I mean, these HOA dudes, they're going for the landscaping. I tell you that right now. There's always fresh flowers. The grass is always super green. It's stunning.
I mean, look at that. Like on the left of the screen there, it's like that's your wedding venue and it actually has a view of the lake and they're up above the trees. You don't get that in Central Florida.
That's Florida.
Really anywhere except there. I mean, honestly, like 5 minutes away is the highest point in all of Florida. So it's kind of a cool little add-on.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. I'm glad that we showed that. That's so pretty. Sure. I forgot about that.
Let's talk about this is interesting. You got a large new unit townhome project coming in Curry Ford. What do we know?
Yeah. So we actually have quite a few of these pocket neighborhoods that are starting to develop in these downtown areas because people they want to live in downtown or they want to live close to downtown, but they don't want to renovate a 100-year-old house or plumbing issues. And so I think developers are aware. They have to know this. I mean, we tell them all the time. So we've got in the Milk District, even right here on Curry Ford, just brand new townhomes, I believe, is in the Curry Ford District. And then in the Milk District, you're getting actually single family homes and 3-story luxury townhomes, walkable to all the shops and restaurants. So I have a prediction that we're going to see a lot more of this as there's less land to develop. Yeah. We're going to see these little pockets. So if you're driving around, you see a little bit of acreage in downtown Orlando, maybe 1 or 2 houses. I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a new community, to pocket communities, like 25 to 40 homes.
It's interesting. Well, Videra, they took a church and they were like, I couldn't find the layout of the lots here, but like they took a church and they're like, hey, there's a bunch of land around the church. We're going to let the church keep operating, but can we take all the land around it and build houses? And you're like,
so walking distance to church.
Yeah. I mean, like Sunday church bells, totally fine. But it's interesting, like to see like where they're trying to jam in houses anywhere they can at this point. And really people are drawn towards that new construction, but they want the livability of a downtown area.
Can you imagine having a brand new 5-bedroom with a backyard, 2-car garage, front load, single family home in downtown Orlando in the Milk District that you didn't custom build? Yeah. Because if you custom build that, we're talking 1.5.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, easily.
But these are starting, I think, at $850 or $900. And so, I mean, you're under that, well under that. And you get a brand new home. Yeah. So
Riley says that she likes my new haircut.
Well, I said that
I miss you, Riley Potter. I hope I get to see your face soon.
Where are you?
She's building that beautiful family. She's doing so well, just killing all areas of life. We love to see it. Craig says, hey, I need to buy a house in Florida. My wife wants near Orlando, near Disney. How do I contact you? You can go to the Orlando.
I'm sorry.
You can go to the OrlandoReal.com/YouTube to get started. And if you want to talk to Kristen or myself, just put in the notes there and we can do that for you. No problem. Let's see. Matthew says, hey, Orlando seems to be coming around to urban infill, getting more density. Not there yet, but we're making huge gains, which is good for walkability. Well, welcome back to Orlando, Matthew. And you're absolutely right. This is like, we're seeing it more and more.
We keep talking about walkability.
Yeah, we do.
This is like a theme that we keep bringing up.
I think, because it's for one, it's every phone call we get. It's like, hey, how do I get something that's maybe a little bit more walkable? And I did a video about walkable areas in Orlando and people were roasting. I got so roasted because here's the thing, like, it's got a good walk score for Orlando, but it's not Chicago.
You got roasted because of Orlando natives who are like, Ken, really? We're
It's
not
not
walking
walkable.
on Mills 50 in the middle of the day. But it actually is. I see people walking there all the time.
Yeah.
Would I do it? No,
probably not. Because you got a car. Yeah. And like, we're car dependent in Orlando. But yeah, you think about, there's like all of these places that they got like a 92 or a 94 walk score.
Yeah.
But that's
good for Orlando, like
really,
Park, like New Broad Street. That's the most walkable. I mean, arguably. And people are like, that's not walkable. I'm like, guys, we have a bar. You got to set the bar somewhere, right?
Oh, goodness. I really do. I really like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think these infill areas, as Matthew mentioned, are going to be really important. I also think that
more food halls are going to make things more walkable.
It'll feel like it. Yeah. Just one more lane, bro. He says, hey, I retired in March and my son has 2 more years in college. We'll be contacting you in the next year. Oh, thank you so much. That means the world. What college is he going to? I'm curious. Is he going to UCF? Is he? What's going on? Devar asked, I think you've asked me this question before. Navy Federal Credit Union for new construction companies, and are there incentives? Navy Federal has been, there's one point where they were incredible to work with and they were great for VA. Other points where it's been not the greatest. I've heard kind of mixed reviews. We do have some really good lenders that we work with that do VA loans. So I would just kind of like take both of your experience, like we getting on my good faith estimate is what I meant to say. From Navy Federal and our guy, and then let us know, which one does better for you in terms of interest rates and closing costs. JJ, what's up, my friend? He said, who needs to walk when you have,
is this the Hunter Creek guy?
This is the unofficial mayor of Hunter's Creek.
Are there really people driving around in golf carts? I think there are.
There are. 100%.
That's great. I saw somebody ask something. I want more land. How do you guys feel about Groveland? That's a good one.
Yeah. So we put a new reel up on Instagram on the Posit Group one, and we've got a new one we just sold there. I mean, but here's the cool thing about Groveland is that you can get 2-3 acres and get like a more of a custom home for under like 1.5 million.
For a great price.
Yeah. Which I know it's not affordable for everybody, but when you think about Windermere or Winter Park or Maitland or some of these other areas,
1.6 and you're landlocked.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Room.
But you're walkable. So yeah, I think so from a Groveland perspective, I think that's one of those other areas that's going to see a lot of growth over the years. You have a lot of land left. And so appreciation might be slower there than some of the other more popular areas, depending on your budget.
But
if you get in now and you get a good amount of land, you're good to go.
It's a lifestyle choice, right? If land is really important to you, but you don't need to be walkable, then that's a fabulous area. Yeah. Beautiful rolling hills.
JK mentioned this is really, I think a good question. Any condo developments coming to downtown? I understand Orlando is spending a significant amount of money improving the downtown area, but I wish they had more condos. Listen, so do we. There's a lot more apartments. And I think the biggest problem is that these developers can't build something and then offload them for a profit. And that's a problem, right? They're going to do it for a profit. Like the last time I did business, I didn't do it for free. And so because land and construction costs have gotten so out of control and interest rates for a lot of these developers, condos just don't make sense. And so they're able to buy these and build these huge apartments. Now there was this JW Marriott, which they were going to do. It's going to be the JW Marriott, and there's going to be originally the Museum of Modern Art on top of it, and then condos above that. And those were going to be easily above $1 million. It's slowed down in regards to what I've heard. But that was the last condo development.
Yeah, anytime we do hear about condos, they're always a luxury product. And I think that's probably because that makes the most sense for developers. Yeah. It's never affordable condos. I've never heard that.
No, I mean, you got and then you got the view, which I think the view is great in some ways. I think that some of those units are starting to look a little old. You're going to start renovating a lot of them. So newer would be better. JK, the JW project, from what I hear, it's really more of a financing thing, and the banks right now are going to make them pre-sell probably a really good amount of them before they'll let them go vertical. And so from what I hear, it's like not a city problem or a developer problem. It's just strictly, financials at this point.
Yeah. That's always the case, isn't it though?
It is. I'm going to say his name. I can't see it. It's too far away. Can you help me out?
Aftab?
Yeah. Mr. Khan says, hey, Bree, thanks for selling my selling your house and property in a very short period of time.
Bree's fabulous.
Bree's a G. Let's see. Tomas says 5th gate announcement at D23, yay or nay? I'm going to say nay. That would be the biggest story of the month. This, Disney has the opportunity to do the funniest thing, which is take some steam away from Epic Universe by doing something really, really big. Will they?
So mean.
Will they?
Would they do that?
No.
Would they do that?
I don't think they're poised to do so.
Yeah.
Chris says howdy from LP. From the LP, what's going on?
LP, is that what we're calling it? Laureate Park. All the cool kids live in there, huh?
I guess. Can I buy a home versus? I want to see where Devar's. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, for sure. Devar. So can I buy a home? Sorry, versus with going with the builder's lender. So the builders typically are, they have their building company and then they usually have their title company and they have their mortgage company. You don't have to use theirs. It's usually they incentivize you to do so. Right. And so that's why, you take that good faith estimate from Navy Federal, you take it to the builders and say, hey, listen, can you do this VA loan for a better deal? And if not, you can go with Navy Federal. They're not going to stop you. Now, sometimes they will tie your incentives to using all of those companies.
Correct.
And so that's why you really have to look at it, say, hey, this builder's willing to give me $25,000 in closing costs if I use their lender.
It's hard to beat that.
It's hard to beat that. And so you have to look at it and compare apples to apples. And we can help you do that.
Yeah. They like to keep it in-house.
Yeah. What else do we have to chat about tonight? There was a couple. Oh, there's something going on. I don't want to keep talking about Horizon West, but it is interesting to me because you got more retail and restaurants coming to the Hamlin Town Center. This is from our friends at the Growth Spotter. They've got Don the Beach Bomber. This is like a tiki on the water over there, which
silly.
You asked me, you're like, is this going to be a little like
very iDrive? That's all I'm saying. Like first thing I was like, is this going to be like a tourist trap area? Because it's right outside of Disney. It's poised to be one.
Yeah, but it's going to be, listen, I think this is the back side of the building and the front side is on the water. And from the front, you'll be able to see the fireworks. But I think it's great. I think that bringing something different, you're going to have Pop Stroke right next to this, Dutch Bros Coffee right next to that.
That is huge.
Yeah. And so I think that this area, okay, so
let's take a guess. How much do you think one of their fruity beverages are going to be? $15?
Easily $15. Easily $15. But again, I think it's better than just, I'm so sick of nothing's wrong with Applebee's. Nothing's wrong with McDonald's if that's where you're at.
Repetitive.
They're repetitive. And I don't like chains. And so Don the Beach Bomber, if it's going to be a tiki vibe and some different kinds of food, I'm down with
property. I love it. It sounds fun with the views. Now you're selling me on it with the fireworks views and my $15 pina colada.
So this is at least $15. So you got Hamlin Grove. So this is kind of like everything else going on. You've got these new buildings finally coming in on New Independence, and it kind of wraps around here. So you've got the Publix. There's a lot going in over here.
We need a lot going in because Ovation is all residential right now, and there's not a ton over there. Waterloo was great by putting that Publix in right in the community.
Yep.
So I think this is the answer to all of the residential properties that are going to be
growth in that area. Yeah. And
nice.
Another thing that says in this article is that they've got last year, Boyd, the developer for that Hamlin area, they submitted plans for 170,000 square foot wholesale store. They didn't say what it was going to be, but it's right next to Walmart. No, that's not going to happen. It's right next to Walmart. So it's going to be, it's probably going to be Sam's Club. Yeah. Are you a Sam's or a Costco person?
I'm a Costco girly.
Yeah. Same.
I love Costco.
Yeah.
I like Whole Foods more. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. Can we get some of those, please? There's only 2.
I mean, you could go spend double and move to Winter Park or Winter Park or Dr. Phillips.
Dr. Phillips. Yep.
J Max says, H from Detroit, waiting for the wife to pull the trigger to move home or move to get a home in Greater Orlando. Well, listen, I made the move from Detroit. And so if it helps,
there you go. Should you talk
like,
to Holly?
Hey,
Holly
yeah, let me know. My wife can be like, hey, it's better down here. Rachel says, Dutch Bros, watch out. Foxtail. Exactly.
For sure. Maybe that sponsorship not looking so bad now.
JJ, if Whole Foods is coming to Hunters Creek, maybe they are. I thought it was a Sprouts, actually.
I thought it was a Sprouts too, but that's cool. But we still need one over here on this side.
Yeah, agreed. Fitness, Florida Man says Horizon West is in dire need of fitness centers. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like the closest to LA Fitness or like really anything decent, I'm so shocked to see. Let me ask you this. Somebody asked me this the other day. They were like, do you think Florida or Orlando specifically is ready for one of like those more higher end like fitness clubs where you would pay like a concierge to do like massages and like mental health, wellness, like everything all in one? Like, and if you were going to build one of those, where would you put it?
Downtown.
What part of downtown?
Well, there's a place called the Gym already downtown. I think that's kind of like that, right? It's got the massage stuff and stuff. I mean, I've never been invited because I'm not a gym bro. but
You're Jim. Are you Jim Gal?
I could
You're a
be.
runner.
I
Yeah.
could be. I like treadmills.
But like, okay, but think about
okay.
like from concierge medicine, the concierge gym, and like if you're going to spend, I think their idea, their mindset was like, would somebody pay a membership that's much more than say like LA Fitness in order to get more services?
Where would we put that is the question.
Yeah. Now there's One Performance Plaza over in Lake Nona, and that's similar. I think they've got a lot of that going on over there.
I didn't even think Lake Nona didn't pop into my head, but that's a good one. I keep thinking like Winter Park or Windermere or Dr. Phillips, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where like the high priced homes are.
Yeah.
Those people might be more inclined to spend that kind of money.
Yep.
But you're right. There's a lot more. I feel like there's a young professional vibe in Lake Nona.
Yeah.
So that would cater to that.
That's why, I mean, so One Performance Plaza, it's a fully integrated. They've got like mental health, they've got rehab, they've got everything. So they're trying to own that world for sure.
We need some more bar studios over in Horizon West too.
Do we?
Yeah.
Like Pure Bar?
No, like the actual, like the reformer machines, like the real reformer machines.
I don't know what that is.
You've never done a reformer machine?
Never. Yeah. Believe it or not. So Christine said we need Equinox. Yeah. That's
Equinox.
A bunch of people are checking in saying Equinox would be exactly that. I would join.
In Hamlin. An Equinox in Hamlin.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I run and I work out in my garage. I would love a great place to go that had like a spa and a pool and everything else.
Like the normal people.
Whatever.
Like
I run outside.
The regulars out here running outside in this 98-degree weather.
I ran 5 miles last night. I thought I was gonna die. My whoop. Yeah, my whoop.
Bad.
It's really bad. My whoop was like, you were in zone 4 the whole time, and I felt nauseous.
And you don't bring water or fuel.
I stopped at Starbucks and then I grabbed a water from Starbucks, but my heart was.
Yeah, because it's your body's trying to cool itself down so hard. Yeah, I think we do need more places that we can run inside.
Yeah, I agree.
And an indoor track would be amazing.
Well, that's what I mean. One Performance Plaza has that indoor track and some other place like that. So somebody asked about Sorrento. So Bree sells a ton on our team, sells a lot in Sorrento. There's actually some really great Red Tail's a great neighborhood. That's gated as well. Another one of those areas that I think are like a Groveland or some of these other ones where maybe it's a little farther out. And if you're willing to do so, you get a lot more back for your money. So,
yeah, but I think, what is it? The major highways have really good exit points to Sorrento.
They do. They're so easy to get to. Yeah. Bad. It's all toll road, right? So it's not like you're bumper to bumper. Yeah. It's just a different kind of vibe. But all right, Kristen, I think that is the pod for tonight. Anything else you want to leave with the people on?
I don't know. What else can we got some great stuff that we were going to talk about tonight, but maybe we'll talk about next week.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff with like the whole idea of people, is Florida slowing down with their people relocating here? Are they moving a lot?
The Great Migration, right?
The Great Migration. Yeah. We'll talk about that maybe next week. So
yeah, exciting.
Appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks so much.